Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to cover adding and subtracting fractions. This is a topic that is covered in middle school, but for some reason, when students get to high school, they tend to forget. So if you're one of those, don't feel bad. I actually learned how to combine fractions and subtract them when I got to college. It took me a while. Um, so I'm not sure how I was able to major in math if I struggled so much at the beginning of it. But well, things happen for a reason. If I was able to learn, you can definitely learn. So here's a quick CFS that I wrote on the left side. The first thing that you need to know is that in order to combine fractions, add them or subtract them, we need to have the same denominator. If you don't have the same denominator, then it's not going to work. Just so you know, if you have a fraction, let me write it here. If you have a divided by b, the number on the top, that is what we call the numerator, and the number on the bottom is what we call the denominator. Okay, so first I need to check that the number on the bottom, the denominator, is the same in order for me to add them or subtract them. If I don't have the same denominator, then I have to make them the same, and that is what we're going to learn here. So after I have the same denominator, then I can combine the numerators and keep the same denominator. You never change it when you're adding them or subtracting them. And lastly, you're going to simplify if possible. So here's one of them. The first one is a very easy one. We have the same denominator already. We have 3 divided by 4 plus 5 over 4. Since the denominator is the same, I get to add them very quickly. So I add the numerators, 3 plus 5, that is 8. And I will keep the denominators the same. So I have 8 divided by 4. Well, 8 divided by 4 can still be simplified, which is just 2. So 3 fourths plus 5 fourths is equal to 2. On the second one, I don't have the same denominator, so I need to make them the same. And here's what I like to think about. I need to think about of the least common multiple that exists between 5 and 2. And if you create a list, the multiples of 5, we have, well, 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. And for 2, we have 2, 4, 8. Well, I actually skipped 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Notice that 10 is the first multiple that comes out for both of them. So that is a denominator that I will use for both of them. And I have to think, like, how can I make this 5 a 10? Well, that means I have to multiply it by 2. 2 times 5 will be 10. And what I do to the denominator, I must do it to the numerator. Well, because I multiply 2 times 5 on the bottom, I'm also going to do it to the top. 2 times 3 is 6. And now I have to think about how can I make this to a 10? Well, that will just be, I need to multiply by 5. And remember that what I do to the bottom, to the denominator, I also have to do it to the numerator. So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35. Now that I have the same denominator, I can combine my fraction. Well, 6 plus 35, that is 41, divided by 10. Can I simplify this? I don't really think so. You can write it as a decimal. As a decimal, it will be 4.1. But if you are in high school, this is something that you don't really have to do. You can, if you were to leave your answer like this, it will be count correct for some teachers. Others, they just want you to write it as a decimal. Here's the last one. I have 8 divided by 9 minus 10 divided by 3. Well, how can I make 9 and 3 the same denominator? If you really think about it, you can notice very quickly that if you multiply this 3 times a 3, that will give you 9. So there's no reason for me to multiply this first fraction by any number, because multiplying by 3 in my second fraction will be sufficient. Now that I have the same denominator, I can simplify it. A minus 30 is negative 22 divided by 9. And in this case, I cannot simplify either, so I can just leave it like this. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel. It will not hurt you, and it will definitely not hurt me either.